Times have been hard and things has been slow for a lot of us, and I'm pretty sure that the most of us are this close into becoming insane. So today I've invited a very special someone to give us some tips and tricks on how to improve our daily lives during this pandemic. So let's jump right into the topic.
Okay, so Noel, thank you first of all so much for giving me an opportunity through your platform so that some of my ideas, some of my advice can go out there, especially for people who are suffering physically, mentally with this current pandemic. Yeah, I put it in a very simple way so that everyone can understand. I want people who are, especially in Malaysia and also globally, who are going through this pandemic, five things to forget and five things to focus so that you can come out of this pandemic much stronger than you came into it, which was March 2020. Hi, everyone. Hello. So, my name is Vishnu. I'll do a quick introduction about myself. I'm from India and I grew up in Hyderabad, which is Telangana now, which is pretty big in terms of IT world. And for my bachelor's degree, I flew all the way to Australia and I studied in University of Canberra. I studied IT, information technology. I graduated and I decided I want to do something other than IT. So I joined sales and marketing organization back in Australia at the time, SalesWorks. And in 2 years, I opened up my first business at the age of 22 in Australia and expanded that business into Malaysia in 2006. And we have been running offices and building our business in Malaysia. We have offices in Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Kota Baru, KK. Did I miss anything? Yeah. So, five things to forget, five things to focus. Now, the first one, forget about your losses and focus on the possibilities. Yeah. One of the things when I'm talking to people, people are talking about like, oh, I lost this during this pandemic. I lost a lot of business. I lost a team. I lost my upcoming sales, etc., etc. My answer is the more you think about losses, you will go into depression. The more you think about losses, you feel like you're totally out of control. The more you think about losses, you will be lost because you're always thinking about losses. What I suggest is instead of focusing on losses, focus on possibilities. I have never imagined the possibility of talking to my team on a Zoom. And we all know Zoom was there even before the pandemic, but I hardly used it. Skype was there, I hardly used it. I always thought we have to catch up face to face, etc., etc. Look at the possibilities Zoom and Zoom like technologies have created. I thought, like, I used to be on a plane in 2019 and before 3 to 4 times a week. From Monday to Friday, I would be on different cities, 4 to 5 cities in multiple countries, and that was my life. What I have realized because of this pandemic and because of well-developed technology like Zooms or Microsoft Teams, that I don't need to be always on a flight. There is still effective way of communicating. So possibility to save money, possibility to save my time so I can have more time with my family. So forget about losses, focus on the possibilities that are coming through because of this pandemic or as a side product of this pandemic. So I'm sure if you start focusing on the possibilities, you can have a list of things that are possible for you, which you never thought were possible before this pandemic. So forget about your losses, focus on possibilities. The second thing, forget about events and focus on response. There are lots of things that happen in last 18 months. You, me, all of us, not only just Malaysia, every country in this world, every business, every employee have been impacted in some or the other shape. There were events that happened that are completely out of our control, totally out of our control. And no matter what you think of, like FMCO, that's an event. That's out of your control and out of my control. Numbers, as we are doing this video, the numbers are around 6,000 to 7,000 cases per day in Malaysia. That's an event. That's out of our control. Which industries government will allow to open after this FMCO? That's an event. That's out of our control. When will the weddings start back again? When will be all these big events start? we have no idea and we have no control. So forget about the events that happen to you or that currently are happening to you. Focus on how are you responding to these events. Do you have a positive response or do you have a negative response? I'm going to tell you frankly from my point of view, right? FMCO is a big event for me. I have 300 plus people who work with me. I have 21 entrepreneurs who work with me, and we have nothing to work on the field because we can't work. We are not part of the essential industry or essential business. So we can't be operating. So instead of worrying about the event, what we started looking at is how do we respond? And all the entrepreneurs got onto Zoom call and we figured out a 4-week strategy how to respond for this. We are organizing masterclasses for our team through Zooms. We are organizing lots of virtual game nights for our team where we are playing Among Us, PUBG. Some teams are playing Mobile Legends. Some teams are playing Call of Duty. Some teams are still playing Dota, which is I'm amazed people are still playing Dota. But focus how you're responding. We are organizing lots of one-on-one calls for our team members, finding out how are they doing physically and how is their mental health. And we are being that voice for them so that we can inspire them and also offer whatever we can offer in terms of our support. So forget about what's happening outside events and things like that. The point is, how are you responding to those events? So first one is forget about your losses, focus on possibilities. Second one is forget about events, focus on how you respond. Third one, forget about complaints and focus on gratitude. Let's speak about Malaysia. A lot of people are complaining how bad the government is, how slow the vaccine process is, and things like that. And guess what? After we complain to our friends, we complain to our colleagues, we complain within our family. What happens to us? We get high blood pressure and nothing else. And it's really bad for our health. So forget about complaining because there is not even one benefit that comes out of it. So instead of complaining, let's focus on what we should be grateful towards. We have health. We have our loved ones safe. The mere fact if you're watching this video and you have an internet connection, you should be grateful. We are not starving to death. We at least have a roof on our head. We should be grateful for what we have. And from there, we will have better things moving forward. So forget about complaining. Focus on being grateful to what we have. Number 4, forget about long term and focus on short term. This is exactly an opposite advice that I give to people all the time. I always share with people, especially people who want to build a business, whether it's online or offline, focus on long term. Don't focus on short term. But when things are uncertain, when things are out of your control, you have to use a different approach. I today don't focus on what's happening next week. I only focus on this week. I have a schedule that I have planned for this week, and my focus is this week because this week is in my control. No one knows what happens next week. Will we be allowed to work? Will we not be allowed to work? Will the FMCO extend? Will it not extend? When there is so much uncertainty outside, stop focusing on long term, start focusing on short term. So forget about long term because the more you think about long term, you become anxious. Start focusing on short term. What am I doing today? What am I doing this week? That is good, especially for your mental health. So forget about long term, focus on short term, especially when the times are uncertain. Fifth one, last but not least, forget about certainty and focus on schedule. People are always asking me, Vishnu, when do these numbers go down? When can we travel? When can we be normal? Like, you remember 2019? Remember 2018? When can we be normal? I don't know. No one knows. When will be the certainty come back? Can we be certain? Is this industry going to be certain and stuff? No one can predict. No one knows. Probably scientists would know, but not mere mortals like you and me. So instead of focusing on certainty, just focus on your schedule today. So forget about certainty, focus on schedule. When you focus on your daily schedule, immediately you get your power back. That's critical, yeah? You get your power back. When you're focusing on today, when you focus on your today's schedule and you get when you get things getting done and you feel back in control again. So for example, I had a 8:30 breakfast session virtually this morning with one of my team. 10:15 to 12 p.m. was my recruitment audit. 12:30 to 1:30 was my virtual lunch with my JB team. And 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. I'm doing this. And I'm getting things done. And once you can start taking things done, you feel you're in control. And when you feel you're in control, you feel good. You feel you still have that power. Yes, there is lots of things outside that are not in your control. But once you have your schedule for the week, your schedule for the day, you feel things are more certain. So forget about certainty outside. Focus on your schedule and try to create a certainty inside, which is within your life. Okay, so quick summary: forget about your losses, focus on possibilities. Forget about events, focus on how you respond to those events. Forget about complaints and focus on gratitude, being grateful to what you have today. Forget about long term, focus on short term. Forget about certainty and focus on schedule. Focus on certainty inside, forget about certainty outside. Hopefully these tips can help you to get back on track, and once this pandemic will finish, it will finish. Once it's done, we can get back, and we can get back stronger than we came into this pandemic.
Wow, thank you so much, Vishnu, for the great insight. I think I've learned quite a bit from what you have shared just now. But I have a question. Okay, how do I be consistent? Because I mean, I can practice like gratitude and I can focus on a lot of things, but I think a lot of us struggle in being consistent because sometimes we tend to get off track.
Great question, Noel. And not only you, some of my teams have asked me this question this week. Yeah, multiple teams actually asked me, Vishnu, how do I be consistent? Yeah. Let's talk about the opposite side of it. Why people are not consistent? They're not consistent because not consistent means sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't do it. That's not consistent. Why do you do it sometimes and why do you not do it sometimes, even though the activity is same? Because it depends on your mood. So if you are someone who's waking up in the morning like, do I feel doing exercise today? Nah, I'm not going to do exercise. Next day morning, how do I feel today? Do I feel like doing exercise today? Okay, I'll feel like doing exercise today, I'll do it. Next day, do I feel like doing exercise today? Nah, I don't feel like doing exercise today. So the trick to consistency is whatever you want to do becomes part of your schedule. That's the first trick. Once it's scheduled, because when I wake up in the morning, I'm not thinking, what do I feel like doing today? No, it's already organized last Saturday. What am I doing today? What's on this time? And then I need to go and do it because it's part of my schedule. That's a trick. The second trick is make sure that commitment of schedule is with someone. Because we are okay to disappoint ourselves, but we don't like as human beings to disappoint a fellow human being. That's why when they say, right, when you have a gym buddy, because you don't want to disappoint your gym buddy to go to gym. That's why you have a coach, because you're okay to tell yourself not to go to the gym, but to tell that to the coach, you feel like terrible. So you're like, even though I don't feel like going to gym, but the coach is there, I don't want to upset my coach, I'm going to go. Consistency comes from things being part of your schedule and you being accountable to at least one person. If Noel, if you're not coming on this, and if you have told me, Vishnu, do your video, maybe I would have done it end of this week, maybe early next week. But because it's in my schedule, and because you're coming on the call, I'm doing it, and I'm getting it done. And if there's one more video next week, and it's in our schedule, and you're coming on the call, I'm doing it again. So put it in your schedule and have someone that you can be accountable for. Then the consistency follows. Once it becomes a habit, It's a habit all the way.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching the video. If you'd like to know more about Vishnu or be a part of his organization, do check out his Instagram and his LinkedIn account. The links are down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit on the notification bell for more awesome content on Nude Media.